Hey everybody, it's Tony George. Sunday March Madness Elite Eight. Happy Easter to all of you. I hope you are enjoying what is ham usually. I'm working. Family's out of town, so I'm just ham sandwich and watching some hoops today. But nonetheless, let's get to it here. In the late game today, we have a 6-unit top play in the early game today between Tennessee and Purdue. My only pick of the day out of these two games. Yesterday, we had an 8-unit play on UConn in the first half. We used the consensus line, which was at 4.5 all morning. And then about 8:15, we released plays at 8:30 Pacific. The consensus line that we monitored jumped up to 5, although it was mainly 4.5 across the board. So I put it out at 5, but I know the vast majority of you got it at 4.5. Worst case scenario, you didn't lose anything, but I would say probably the vast majority of you, and it closed at 4.5. And sales came in later, so I know the vast majority got the win there. So, but just to be fair and honest, I graded it as a push. Although that 5 number wasn't out there very long. Went right back down. So nonetheless, we're on a roll. And we got a good slate for you today. We'll tell you what's going on in a second. This game here today, obviously, North Carolina State. You could talk about hot teams, UConn, Clemson, Purdue, NC State, all playing well, overachieving, although Clemson, that turned into a shootout, and Bama ended up getting them. Sorry about the free leans yesterday, but North Carolina State is a lot like Clemson. They're pesky. They did take down Duke in the ACC tournament in dominating fashion, and again, I'm just going to go with a lean here on NC State plus 7. I haven't seen this line right now is still at 7 across the board. There were 7.5 yesterday, opened up at 6, total 143. That's about right. Honestly, guys and gals. But I just can't ignore, this is a team that took down North Carolina, Virginia, Duke, Texas Tech, a very pesky Oakland team, and good one, and then Marquette, by 9 points. I think Duke can get them. I really do. Vermont and James Madison aren't much of a test for Duke. They had a test in the last game over Houston, where Houston was over. Remember, Iowa State blew them out of the water, as well as Kansas did earlier this year. Not the last game, but I think Houston was overrated. And on top of that, they barely beat, I think, an overrated Houston team. And Houston, for the second half, and most of the game was without their best player. And you're going to lay 7 here? I mean, it's going to be interesting. And they won their last game without a lot of help from their big. I just think it's too many points. I think NC gives them a game. NC State gives them a game today. They're very familiar with each other. Obviously, they've already played twice this year. They've split. But this run that NC State is on cannot be ignored. I mean, they have taken down some giants along the way to get here, including just walking through the ACC tournament. I mean, and 7 is a ton of points. Going to make you real nervous if you're laying that many. If it comes down to a 4 or 5 point game and people start going to the free throw line and making or missing. Because that's very well what it might come down to. I lean the points here with North Carolina State in the late game. Over at the website, as we mentioned, we have a 6-unit top pick in the Tennessee-Purdue game, a detailed write-up as to why you're going to cash this. We cash back-to-back 6-unit picks Thursday and Friday, including a sweep on Friday. You got a win or a push yesterday. Hopefully most of you got the win based on responses on Twitter. You know, there wasn't anybody MFing me. Everybody was happy. So I know most people got the good line there. And at day's end, we move on also today in Major League Baseball. A 3-pack, flat bet, 3 units each, right down the board. We got a 1:30 Eastern Standard Time first pitch in one of the games. We have a 4-unit NASCAR. They're racing at Richmond today. Short track, legendary track. Always a good track to bet. Always had a lot of success there. Got a 4-unit PGA head-to-head in the final round of the Houston Open. And an NBA player prop-off back-to-back cases passed yesterday. Let's get another one. I think we're 32-20, 33-20 year-to-date with props overall. Decent, but I want better. We got a really good mismatch today for you. So be sure and jump on that. Doc Sports, place to be, free $60. Link in the description below. We'll know who's in the Final Four after today. We'll talk about it this week. We'll have some podcasts. We'll have some fun with it. Have a great Easter.